Oh, well, hello, and thank you so much for joining us here on this short video. I have a question for you. Do you have an ADHD or ODD or oppositionally defiant child that you find yourself thinking sometimes, I don't even like my child and I'm having a really hard time playing or bonding or hugging or loving him at the end of the day because the days can be so stressful that, you're just hopeless? And if you're there, that's what we're going to talk to you today, because we were going through social media just a couple of weeks ago and I saw a very intensive conversation that began with, I don't even like my child. I can't even give him a hug. And so, Tom, can you answer the question? Oh, this is so funny because I'm having a thought like, I don't even like my kid, but sometimes us women wake up in the morning and go, I don't even like my husband. So there's got to be something to that. And so can you share how we can see things on such different levels, because we love our kids so much, but how do we get on these levels where we don't even like each other?
Yeah, great question. And you're right. Your husband, if it comes from a mom's point of view, is nothing more than a big kid.
Yes.
That you love so much and just, oh, yes, love, love, love. But when you think about what we're talking in a roundabout way is whether it's your significant other or it's your child, there's that bond where you feel that you love them so much. And there is a kid's brain and a parent's brain. Now, that's not like they're different sizes, but what we're talking about is life experience. So real quick, Bonnie, what would be an age of a child? Like say 5 to 10?
I'm thinking a child that might cause me so much stress that I don't like. Yeah, it could be anywhere from 2 to 17 or something like that.
All right. So maybe what we can do is we can work with that spectrum. And then of course, when you got yourself an adult, if they're somewhere between 2 to 17, then they're going to be somewhere between probably 20, 40, 60, somewhere around there. Who has all the life experience over the other one? Definitely the adult. How many of us kids have really a clue what the adult world's like? None of them. So if we really think about this, an adult can go back to what it is to being a child. You remember your first time going to school, riding that bike, right? Losing your balloon at the carnival when it flew away. We can go back to all those wonderful experiences. However, what child can actually fast forward into their life and go, yep, I remember having my first kid. Yep, I remember buying my first house, etc. They have no idea. What ends up happening is that we love them so much, we tend to believe or assume or think that they can actually see the world the way we see it, and they can't. And there's no way that they can possibly even comprehend it. They can kind of guess or hear you, but what does that really mean to them? They have no practical life experience. And so when we project or push onto them that they should know what we're talking about or understand the concept and they don't, wow, that can lead to so much fuel of us on our part getting frustrated, angry. It's almost like a cup that's overflowing because it's boiling. And it's really us that is causing that situation because we believe they can. And when they don't step up, well, that's what causes it. So if we can really comprehend that they don't understand it yet, then all the frustration that we have is really self-imposed.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking this is all great. And I'm taking my 4-year-old to the grocery store and, I've got about 15 minutes to get my groceries. And here's this 4-year-old, wanting candy, wanting me to buy him things, having a temper tantrum in the grocery store. Mm-hmm. And these are kind of situations where it's like, oh my gosh, can I just leave my kid at home or whatever? So can you share a little bit about what motivates a child? Because we've been taught for the last 80 years or so that a child's only motivator is attention. And I do believe that children need attention. You need attention. I need attention. Trust me, Tom will tell you, and I don't get enough attention. What happens? We all need attention. But we also believe that that every single person, human being, needs like purpose and, you know, inspiration. So let's talk a little bit about what gives children that purpose and that inspiration so that they can feel more loved, you know, through the process of the parents teaching life skills.
Yeah, let's go to the grocery store because that's a great playground for a kid. Let's see. When you go to the grocery store, the parent's mind is like, okay, grocery list, in and out, and they've got like 18 other things that they still need to do when they get home. Sounds about right. A kid goes in and they are mesmerized because millions and millions of dollars have been spent to get whose attention? The kids. Name any type of product, right? They spend massive money on researching of the colors, shapes, sizes, you get, or even little cartoon characters. So their whole world is being like entranced. They're enchanted of all these things. So we've been a little numb to it, or we've outgrown it, or we look at it and go, right, creamy on the outside of a peanut butter. Okay, we know that you ain't fooling me. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to find the one that has only one ingredient. I'm not being fooled by the fake advertisement. And you got 27 ingredients for peanut butter. Yeah, I'm too smart for you. But our kids are not there yet. And so when you think about even just a cart, you've got a cart. It's a tool to put things in so you don't have to carry it. Oh my gosh, if a little kid is like, oh, let's cart and see how far it can go down the aisle, or I can hop on it and climb on it, or I can do whatever it is. And see, when we think about those two aspects, if we know that they're going to do this going in, or it happened in the past, what's going to change? There's no magical age that goes, well, my kid climbs on stuff, punches all the boxes in. But
you used to do that, didn't you?
Yeah, hello. There's no magical age to go, well, if I could just survive this until they're 10, then all of a sudden they click and go, well, mom, you know, all those bad behaviors that I used to do and you yelled at me, I hit the magic age and now I know what to do as an adult. It doesn't work that way. It never will. So it's our job to show them, and we can do it two ways. Now, I guarantee you, you're already doing one of the two. It's reactive mode. They do something we don't like. We don't feel good. Negative vibration. We tell them, hey, don't do this, don't do that. They're thinking, this sucks. Okay, negative vibration. How does anything positive come out of those two things? It's a recipe for disaster. And that's where you are. Great, you found you are here dot, just like those maps at the mall. You are here, it's a red dot. Where do you want to go? Well, what if you actually went in there and they did all the things that you needed? That would be a wonderful place to be. Now, the secret there is, what's the opposite of reactive? You got it. Proactive. You actually come up with a game plan before you go into the store. Takes maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but isn't a 5-minute investment worth 30 minutes of chaos, temper tantrum, or just negative feelings that are on your side and their side? It's a huge investment. We know this intellectually. Oh yeah, I told them, follow what I say, but there's all these other techniques that we must learn to do, because once again, a kid's listening to you, and this may be a generation gap for some, but do you remember the Peanuts, Bonnie, where you had the teacher that was going, wow, 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 wow. That's what a lot of parents sound like to kids. And if you don't believe it, well, it's true.
Yeah, because they don't think the same way.
Nope, and he never will.
Right. Okay, so the pre-frame. So the first time that I actually saw Tom pre-frame with my kids, I had never had anybody ever teach me this before. So I was really annoyed. I was like, gosh, can't we just go in the grocery store, get this done? I've got things to do today, you know? And he was taking 4 or 5 minutes and he was talking with the kids and making this game plan. And I am telling you what, you hang on tight here and just listen, because Tom's going to give you the exact formula on how to do this. But I will just say that I took 3 of my kids. 2 of them were diagnosed with ADHD. My youngest was ADHD and oppositionally defiant disorder. And we go into the grocery store and we had all of the grocery shopping done, paid for, out of the store, bagged, outside, ready to do our next journey in 20 minutes. And the kids were age 7 and 10, I believe, at the time. So go ahead and give them the formula. Now, it's going to be counterintuitive, and you're going to be like, who does this? Well, nobody does, and that's why we're all having problems with our kids. But if we did do this, and we shared our exact expectations up front, and we taught them exactly what they needed to do, they will do it. And we have approached children with, the worst child that we ever, applied this technique with was labeled ADHD, ODD, Asperger's, as well as fetal alcohol syndrome. And this method worked absolutely beautifully. Okay, so formula, please.
All right. Pencils and pens ready.
Yes.
I can see parents are like pausing, going, wait, hang on a second. Right? All right. So you go in and we already know the reactive mode. You've lived it. I've heard the stories. Heck, I bet you've got 3 or 4 stories. And sometimes, and when it comes time for shopping, you're thinking, what can I do to like not take them? All right. So with all that being said, now when you're in the car or on the way there, think of what this is. What's important to them?
That's new.
And you're right. Sometimes there's no immediate answer. What do you mean what's important to them? We're going grocery shopping. I'm getting them stuff. Parents' brain, kids' brain. Now, here's a very popular one. You're going to find some, but there's always going to be the free cookie in the bakery. That seems to be the most common thing that's been around for the last 50 years, at least that I can remember as a kid. It's still there today. So there's the free cookie. Why is it so magical for a kid? Well, if we've gotten into our adult brain and we forgot how fun a free cookie is, well, see how numb we are to how cool simple things can be. So that could be what it is. So know the reward. What's important to them? Cookie. Great. And it could be anything else, but you're getting the example. So now you can break that cookie into 3 different layers. Some of the cookie, most of the cookie, all of the cookie. Now, this might sound a little counterintuitive at first, but it would be as awkward as crossing your arms, and that's how you naturally do it. Now, reverse your hands around and tell me how awkward that feels. Yeah, this doesn't even feel right. Exactly. Now you're on the right track because you're learning something new. So find out how well they're going to follow the directions. Sometimes they do it. Most of the time they'll do it. Maybe they might do all of it. So you tie it into performance-based. See, so many of us are starting off at the top and saying, yep, you're going to get a cookie if you do all the good stuff. And then when you're all said and done, what do? Well, you kind of did, but you were punching on your sister again. So that way, because you did that, you ain't getting a cookie, or you're only going to get half. So you start at the top and you're always moving things down. Now, real quick, Bonnie, how does just the feeling as a mom telling them they did something wrong and they're only getting half feel, positive or negative?
Yeah, it feels negative.
Right. And you know that intuitively. It's like, gosh, why even do this? I don't even like the feeling. Exactly. The approach is start at 0. When they first go in, just like your paycheck, you start off at the week with 0 hours. You don't start with 40. You start with 0 and you add. So you go in there and say, look, now here's the potential for the whole cookie. What's your goal? Would you like some, most, or all?
I want all of the cookie.
Now you'd be amazed. The adult brain thinks most, just like Bonnie said. We all do. Of course they want the cookie, all of it. But sometimes kids just want some. And we're not okay with that. There's the disruption part of it. They might say, well, I'm okay with half. Then the most you're ever going to get out of that kid on that particular venture is about half of what you expect them to do in the grocery store. And that can be a aha moment for you and go, oh, great. So we start off at 0. I need 5 things done. I'm probably going to get 2 or 3 of them with my child because that's all the energy they're going to put out for me. To expect more isn't going to happen. For me to demand more, it's only going to cause an issue. Great. So you know what the game plan is going in. And when they want more of the cookie, all they have to do is what? follow more directions. So they start to learn the simple cause and the effect of what I put out is what I earn. What you reap is what you sow.
Yes.
It's been taught so many different ways in so many different languages. It's the same concept. You still start with 0 and you always add. So this way, when you actually look at what's going on, hey, great job on doing this one, and this one. How does that feel when you're told what you did right? Positive or negative? Positive. Therefore, you have half the cookie. What a great thing. Good job. You break it in half. There you go. There's your paycheck. And you're done. And if they're excited, you'd be amazed. They're like, thank you. And you're like thinking to yourself, something's wrong here. I had a positive experience. They're having a positive experience. Am I missing something? No, you're matching the kid's brain with the adult brain or vice versa. And you're actually making things work as a starting point.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I just want to make this point. When you're in the grocery store or on an outing or doing anything with your child, and you ask them to do something, you ask them to listen, you ask them to sit still in the cart, you ask them to, you know, not ask for anything in the store, whatever it is. Have you actually taken the time to show them what that looks like? Now, one of the first experiences that I ever had with Tom and working with a family, the kids were kind of running around and not really focusing on anything. And Tom just made the statement, whoever's ready to eat dinner will come and sit nicely on the couch. And so he had the 13-year-old come and sit nicely on the couch, and the 7-year-old oppositionally defiant ADHD kid laid on the couch. He was like, well, I'm not going to sit because you told me to sit. I'm going to lay here on the couch. And then Tom goes, well, we actually have one child ready to eat dinner tonight. It was a 13-year-old who was sitting nicely on the couch. And he kept just focusing on the positive and kept focusing on what they were doing right. And then Tom actually grabbed a chair from the dining room table and brought it into the living room. And he said, this is how we sit in a chair. And he literally showed them, this is how we sit in a chair. And then he had all three of them, the 3-year-old, the 6 or 7-year-old, and the 13-year-old all come and sit in the chair exactly how Tom showed them to. And then when it was time for dinner, all he had to do was say, can you guys show me how to sit properly in a chair? And they all went to their chairs and sat up straight. It was just incredible, right? So whatever it is that you want them to do on your outing or whatever segment of the day that you're going into, make sure that you take the time to teach them those life skills first, and then focus on what's important to them. It could be the cookie, it could be a movie, it could be, you know, the park. The very first time of the story I was telling you about, we had swimming after. So it was, we have 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes of swimming time, depending on the output that they put. And when you can focus on that, the children are just like, oh, I have a purpose for being on the planet. Oh, mom's teaching me some life skills. Oh, I have some personal responsibility here, rather than just being, you know, your little boy or little girl that has to cooperate just because you tell them to. So that's a huge aha moment and shift for you today.
Yeah. And this is the plus one of the aha moment is the mom later went, they know how to sit. Well, that's the adult brain. But the kid's brain, their idea of sitting in a chair is all that they know is all that they know. Because really, all that we do know is all that we know. And we know everything that we know. Sounds a little like a tongue twister. But when you sit there and say, you need to sit in a chair, all they can reference is what they known or have been taught. And so this is sitting in a chair. And they'll argue to the death that that is right. They'll even take a lie detector and they'll pass with flying colors. Why? Because that's the only reference that a child's brain has. So you sit there telling them, well, when you sit better, right over their head, you're going to be frustrated. They're going to be frustrated. Nobody's ever going to win in that situation. It's our job to guide them through from a child's brain to an adult brain. That's why they're with us for 18 years. We have a role as a parent to do it. And the fact of the matter that if you find yourself ever being frustrated, we've missed what could be so, oh gosh, what would be a good word to to share, Bonnie. Showing somebody how to sit in a chair, does that seem like odd or weird?
Well, yeah, we're missing teaching opportunities with the idea that our children need to be punished or disciplined. And the awareness is the key to greatness. So just hearing that thought on today's video might have some light switches going off in your mind, right? Because attention deficit disorder was named very correctly. And Tom, you love doing this. Attention deficit disorder. Do you want to give the meaning?
Oh, ADD?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. You give them the idea of what they're supposed to do. Give them 3 examples of how to sit at the table. One is slacking. One is outstanding. One is something in the middle. And then let them demonstrate which one of the 3 will match what's important to them as far as like, would you like the food to be hot? You sit like this. Would you like the food to be cold? Well, that's kind of sitting like this. And then you let them demonstrate so they have something to pick from it. So empowering. Yes. So attention, what is ADD? Attention deficit disorder? Well, you know, and I know we all need attention. And when we want something and automatically told no, it creates a deficit of the attention. And after a while, it will turn into a disorder. It's that simple. They want something. We're telling them no. That creates a deficit. And then pretty soon, how often do you have to be told no before it becomes a disorder and somebody wants to stand up for what's important to them? See, our kids are truly standing up and looking to vocalize what's important to them.
Yeah.
And they have no other means to communicate it. They only know one, just like a baby. They cry. A child just knows how to keep saying what they know. And if they have no other references, that can be very frustrating. And so without us looking at it and going, what can I do to create a better environment or do a better job or understanding? Well, our ignorance steps in, and then we basically say, well, there's something wrong with them. And that's a whole different avenue that a lot of us are feeling like this doesn't even feel right, but what else do I do? But when you know this, oh my gosh, how many parents say, I wish I knew about this 10 years ago when I had my first kid.
Mm-hmm.
We even hear grandma say, my gosh, where were you 30 years ago when I had my first kid? I needed this when I was teaching. Right. Now is a good time to start, because now that you know, you too have a choice versus reactive and proactive. Proactive takes a little time to learn, but once you got it, oh my gosh, why would you go any other way?
Yeah, and I just want to close with this, because that last statement that we made might tick you off. And if it does, that's okay.
Good.
That's okay, because, you know, I've lived there. I've lived with my kids with ADHD and ODD and anxiety and depression, and have been able to help them find healing, have been able to help them learn the life skills, have been able to help them fill in some of those gaps that they were missing, which did label them with ADHD. But I just want to say that, you know, the mindset that creates the problem is not the same mindset that can fix it, because if it could, it wouldn't have created it in the first place. And that is a quote from Einstein, who we all know. Henry Ford also says, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. And so what we're doing is we're bringing a fresh, new perspective to this horrific, overdiagnosed disorder called ADHD, which leads to oppositional defiant disorder. And when you start teaching your kids life skills in advance and really looking into your mind and going, have I taught them to sit in a chair? Have I taught them to put their toys away? Have I taught them what a laundry hamper, you know, how to fill up a laundry hamper? You know, it might seem like really simple things to you, but to them, they're just open and curious, and they want to explore, and they want to be accepted for who they are. And so when you start saying, oh, you want to wear 15 barrettes in your hair? Okay, like who cares, right? Or, oh, you want the whole cookie? This is how we earn the whole cookie. Okay, congratulations, you earned half. So when you start taking in this philosophy and really learning it, and I've been working on this now for a couple of years, so it's kind of like playing chess. You can learn all the rules in 5 minutes, but can you beat the top chess player in the world in the first month? No, it takes some learning, some new life skills. So we're here to help you learn the life skills of child rearing that will help you prevent and greatly reduce, significantly reduce the outbursts of behavior that we do see in children diagnosed with ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We do as many videos as we can. Please go through our channel. If you like what you've heard here, please click like on the video, share a comment with us. We love hearing your stories. We have so many people that watch all of our videos and start to implement and notice a huge shift in their child's behavior and in their own peace of mind. So thank you so much. We'll see you on the next video.